أكيد قلت شلك تير أكيد اشتبهن شلك سبي أكيد شو لقاشتو شقو أكيد ما كيويني ما كنيكن إشبقن تقامن لقاون.
Recognizing the importance of Mexican vanilla worldwide and committed to giving back the greatness that it held for many years in the international arena, those of us who produce it in the lands that gave it origin have been working hard with the clear commitment to offer a unique and unrepeatable product supported by value attributes that are increasingly in demand by markets that consume high-quality vanilla, as in the European market. Vanilla history is Mexican.
In the 11th century, on the mountain slopes of the Sierra Madre Oriental in Papantla, Veracruz, Mexico, the Totonacs were the first civilization to cultivate vanilla. They called it Xanat, the hidden flower, the gift of the gods.
Legend has it that the third lord of Etahin had a daughter so beautiful that there was not a single man on the face of the earth that deserved her. So he ordered that she be taken to the temple of the goddess of sowing and harvest to consecrate her to his cult. After some time, in the vicinity of the temple, a young man appeared. He fell in love with the princess at first sight and took her. They had only walked a few steps when a monster closed their way, forcing them to take another route, in which they met the priests, who, without asking any explanation, took the couple, cut their heads, took out their hearts, and threw them to the bottom of the ravine. At the bottom, all plants and herbs dried up. Despite that, over time, a shrub grew, and next to it, an orchid that became entangled in its branches, hugging it delicately.
From the orchid, yellow flowers were born and soon transformed into dark pods that gave off exquisite aromas. The priest said that the couple's hearts were responsible of that and declared the plant sacred. This belief led the Totonacs to use vanilla for religious and medicinal purposes rather than culinary, until they were conquered by the Aztecs, who forced them to renounce their sacred vanilla.
The Aztecs began demanding taxes from the Totonacs in the form of vanilla pods and grasped their delicious edible properties. They discovered that vanilla possessed aphrodisiac powers and combined it with cocoa in a ceremonial concoction called chocolatil. And as the orchid blacks after harvesting, they called it black flower. By the year 1519, with the arrival of the Spaniards, the Aztec emperor Moctezuma offered Hernán Cortés a cup of the traditional hot chocolate with vanilla infusion. Cortés drank it gladly, managed to acquire the recipe, and proceeded to end the life and dominion of Moctezuma. From that moment on, vanilla received this name from the Spaniards because its fruits resembled the sheaths of their swords.
Cortés brought the vanilla-flavoured chocolate to Europe, where Hugh Morgan, an apothecary of Queen Elizabeth of England, had the brilliant idea of using vanilla on its own, which gave the black flower a leading role in a wide range of gastronomic products, as well as perfumes, tobacco, and alcohol. By the end of the 17th century, the aromatic and flavouring powers of vanilla were well known, so the Spanish crown jealously guarded its trade.
Its consumption took off in the United States and spread during the 18th century, largely thanks to Thomas Jefferson, who developed one of the first recipes of vanilla ice cream in history. Thus, vanilla soon began to appear in cookbooks and refreshments, such as Pemberton's Coca-Cola that went on sale in 1886, touted as a brain tonic and intellectual beverage.
Nowadays, this coveted spice is indispensable in the confectionery and gastronomy world, and also used in perfumery, beauty, and well-being items. It's estimated that more than 18,000 products contain vanilla in its preparation, and according to the International Ice Cream Association, vanilla is the first choice for 29% of consumers, followed by chocolate with a distant 8%.
The vanilla market. World production.
Although there are at least 110 species of the genus Vanilla around the tropical regions of the world, there are only 3 Vanilla planifolia. Vainilla Pompona, and Vainilla Tahitiensis, which represent the total of world production, being Vainilla planifolia the one that predominates, contributing around 92% of the total volume, as it possesses the most demanded attributes by the market.
In 2016, world production of vanilla was estimated at 7,940 tons, and the main producing countries were Madagascar with 2,926 tons, corresponding to 37% of world production. Indonesia with 2,304 tons, corresponding to 29%. China with 885 tons, corresponding to 11%. Mexico with 513 tons, corresponding to 7%. And Papua New Guinea with 502 tons, corresponding to 6% of world production.
As it's clearly observed, production is highly concentrated. 5 countries account for 90% of the total global volume, and only 2 of them, Madagascar and Indonesia, 2/3 of it.
National production. Occupying today the 4th position on the world stage with 7% of total production, Mexico was for many years and until a few decades ago the main supplier around the world until, for several reasons of external and internal circumstances, Madagascar surpassed it in the 60s. However, in recent years, the production has been retaken with a view to repositioning Mexican vanilla as it has always been, the best in the world, achieving more and better production yield rates per hectare, 12 times higher than the rates handled by the main worldwide producer, Madagascar, and thus higher production volumes.
In Mexico, most of the production of vanilla is concentrated precisely in the area where the Totonacs flourished, the pre-Hispanic culture that first cultivated this orchid. This region, located in the central areas of the state of Veracruz and northeast of the state of Puebla, presents unique climatological characteristics defined by its orography and the presence of norts, cold winds from the north, between the months of September and May that allow a vanilla of premium qualities.
Therefore, in 2016, the main vanilla-producing states in Mexico were Veracruz, with 339 tons, equivalent to 66% of national production; Puebla, with 70 tons, equivalent to 14%; and Oaxaca, with 66 tons, equivalent to 13% of national production. International trade. Because it is a comparatively expensive and a scarce product in relation to the substitutes with which it competes, mainly the synthetic vanillin, the vanilla is little demanded in the countries where it is produced, nations with a very low per capita purchasing power. So most of the world's production is sold internationally, targeting countries with higher income per capita that allow them to acquire this type of product.
In 2016, world imports of vanilla were estimated at 7,330 tons, and the main importing countries were
United States with 1,826 tons, France with 891 tons, Philippines with 710 tons, Germany with 601 tons, United Kingdom with 306 tons, Belgium with 263 tons, Mauritania with 258 tons, and Canada with 252 tons.
Of these 8 nations, France and Germany stand out, who allocate about half of their imports to re-exports, mainly to other countries of the European Union, a fact that has positioned them in the 5th and 7th places respectively among the main exporting countries of this spice worldwide, as shown in the following list.
In 2016, the main exporting countries were Madagascar with 1,605 tons, Indonesia 606 tons, the Netherlands with 503 tons, United States with 457 tons, France with 432 tons, Jordan with 359 tons, and Germany with 261 tons.
Currently, Mexico exports comparatively very low volumes in relation to the main exporting countries, but we're working on increasing them on a short and medium term towards these ends.
Current situation and trends. For many decades, vanilla has suffered from the brutal competition of substitute products such as vanillin, but also of the recurrent high production periods followed by crisis exasperated by the archaic agricultural practices of the main producing countries, by the enormous concentration of the global supply, and by speculation of the marketers. Combined with a typical crisis caused by falls in world production in recent years, an increase in the demand for vanilla has been seen as never before, especially in the agri-food sector, which is the market segment that currently demands most of the vanilla supply, with around 85%.
An important universe of consumers are no longer willing to continue consuming synthetic products and prefer the original, the natural. Vanilla, of course, is one of the products most benefited by this trend that, as a cascade effect, is setting in more and more regions of the planet. This growing and unmet demand can only be served by bidders orientated to meet the specific needs of each of the markets they attend, as projected by Mexican vanilla producers. Mexican vanilla.
Center of origin. Mexico has given the world music to celebrate life, accompanied by exquisite beverages, unmatched food, paradisiacal beaches, jungles inhabited by exceptional creatures, and, among all these gifts, we find vanilla. Yes, vanilla is also Mexican.
If the mixture of races had not been given, the Spaniards that arrived by the Atlantic Ocean and the natives of Mexico, the world probably would not have known it. An orchid of exceptional and unique qualities, a world heritage consistent with the soil, climate and passionate people who, with their hands and effort, guard and protect this sacred flower.
Origin matters. We shared the plant, but we kept the soil, the climate, the know-how, and the people who originally cultivated it. Authentic vanilla is Mexican.
Vinieron los extranjeros y se llevaron la planta, se llevaron el clon, pero no se llevaron la tierra, que es la que nos da la calidad de la vainilla que tenemos. Por eso decimos que, y no lo decimos nosotros, nos lo dicen los que nos compran, que la mejor vainilla del mundo es la del Totonacapan, la de Papanza.
Socio-cultural and environmental values.
In Mexico, the production of vanilla involves a universe of about 2,500 producers located mostly in regions with high historical and cultural values, characterized by the presence of living indigenous languages, as well as traditional and ancestral customs that still remain and that are passed from generation to generation, especially in what has to do with the know-how concerning this millenary cultivation.
Regardless of these producers, the cultivation of vanilla in Mexico, intense in labor, requires the active participation of at least 25,000 women and men, which gives this activity an enormous social value.
A la edad de 8 años yo ya polinizaba la vainilla. De ahí fuimos sembrando más, ampliando más, y hasta ahí hemos llegado al momento en que mis hijos también participen como herencia que yo les estoy dejando.
Ahorita yo a mis hijos les estoy aportando esa misma cultura. Ellos están aprendiendo a sembrar, a polinizar y a cosechar.
Aquí la vainilla tras patio da excelentes resultados, porque la misma familia la involucras en todo el proceso.
Las mujeres con la vainilla realmente podemos darle un gran apoyo a nuestro gasto familiar.
A final de cuentas, la vainilla nos está abriendo las puertas social y económicamente al mundo. Papantla es visitado por el tema de la vainilla.
Additionally, it's noteworthy that this activity is developed under the shelter of highly biodiverse ecosystems that still preserve redoubts of the imposing Mexican jungle.
Unique product. Mexican vanilla has characteristics that make it unique, unrepeatable.
Besides that, it's produced precisely in the point of origin of this spice worldwide under unique agroclimatic conditions for optimal development of this orchid that, even today, a percentage of plants are naturally pollinated by the melipona bee. The process followed before, during, and after the production of the pods, as well as before, during, and after their curing, are different from those that are carried out in other producing countries. All this gives Mexican vanilla a very specific organoleptic profile that's highly valued by connoisseurs, who also understand that vanilla producers in Mexico always look for the best quality in the final product offered to the market.
Nos visitan también mucha gente de Europa y les encanta venir aquí porque la mayoría de sus platillos son tradicionales y sobre todo porque la mayoría de sus platillos pues tienen el toque de la vainilla.
Yo la vainilla la uso para elaborar no solo postres, también la uso para platillos salados, para camarones, para mis recetas secretas, que el secreto de viva voz es que tienes que usar vainilla. Esa es la receta de la abuela de mi abuela. Te vas a ver supremo.
Este es el caldo con el toque de vainilla, lo acompañamos con tortillas y pues la vainilla, que es lo principal que lleva para que le dé ese sabor especial y único.
Appellation of origin. Little more than 80% of the Mexican vanilla offered is protected under the appellation of origin, Vainilla de Papantla.
Since 2009, the government of Mexico, through the Mexican Institute of Industrial Property, IMPI, protects the dried fruit and the derivatives of the Vanilla planifolia species that occur in an area of 7,750 square kilometers, which includes 39 municipalities of the Mexican states of Veracruz and Puebla. Demarcations that possess unique characteristics for the cultivation of this spice and region in which precisely the Totonacs began its cultivation 1,000 years ago.
Para tener una vainilla de calidad, si nosotros hacemos el trabajo como debe de ser, el sol nos da todo. ¿Por qué? Porque la vaina tiene un contenido de más de 300 componentes. Si lo haces con el horno, matas muchos componentes. Si se lo haces tradicionalmente y culturalmente, todos los contenidos hacen su labor y tenemos una vainilla de mejor calidad.
Y la vainilla de Papantla es la que tiene por mucho un superior grado de vainillina natural, obviamente.
La vainilla es una maravilla y aparte es mexicana.
The organization. For more than 12 years, those who participate in this sector joined the Veracruz State Council of Vanilla Producers in order to represent the entire guild through a solid organization oriented to meet the needs that markets currently demand based on a very clear strategy, repositioning Mexican vanilla internationally as what it has always been, the best in the world, and at the same time, achieving higher levels of well-being for those who participate directly and indirectly in this activity, especially for the Mexican vanilla producers.
To this end, we're investing resource in 3 main areas.
Organizational development to permanently increase the value of our human capital, made up of all the women and men who participate in this noble activity and that are the fundamental basis for the present and future success of Mexican vanilla.
In process and product development to achieve better production yield rates, greater efficiency, and of course, continue to guarantee the indisputable quality of Mexican vanilla.
And finally, in market development, in order that main buyers of this spice in the world rediscover Mexican vanilla and its enormous potential as a business opportunity.
En este caso, yo sí le doy un enorme crédito al Consejo de la Vainilla porque ha venido a destacar y a retomar la producción de vainilla y la comercialización de vainilla como en antaño.
El Consejo, un servidor, Cristín Pérez García, como representante, quiere que esto se expanda más para que miren para México en dónde estamos los vainilleros y que se den cuenta la calidad de vainilla que tenemos todos los vainilleros de México.
Europe, a key market destination. Today, Europe represents the second biggest importer of vanilla in the world, with about 41% of the total volume. However, in terms of value, it represents almost half of the market, surpassing slightly the United States, the main importing country globally. In 2016, imports of vanilla in Europe were estimated at 2,970 tons, and the main importing countries were
France, with 891 tons, equivalent to 30% of Europe's imports. Germany, with 601 tons, equivalent to 20%. United Kingdom with 306 tonnes, equivalent to 10%. Belgium with 263 tonnes, equivalent to 9%. Italy with 146 tonnes, equivalent to 5%. The Netherlands with 100 tonnes, equivalent to 3%. Portugal with 95 tonnes, equivalent to 3%. Poland with 84 tonnes, equivalent to 3%. Denmark with 73 tonnes, equivalent to 2%. And Switzerland with 63 tonnes, equivalent to 2% of Europe's imports.
As you can see, 50% of the imports into this region of the world are concentrated in only 2 countries, France and Germany. However, if we take into account the value of them, $268.8 million, we have only these 2 nations, representing about 68% of the total imports of Europe and little more than 32% of the world's.
Besides the specific weight in figures that represent in the international arena, the European market values more and more the attributes that Mexican vanilla offers them, leading the trend towards the consumption of natural, authentic, original products, and also towards those products that provide socio-cultural and environmental values.
Therefore, the Veracruz State Council of Vanilla Producers understands that Europe represents an excellent opportunity for Mexican vanilla in the short and medium terms, so it is investing resources to strengthen long-term business relationships with potential partners in the region.
Amigo, dear businessman, we invite you to rediscover Mexican vanilla so together we can develop the necessary schemes for this spice to reconquer the European market that you already know and serve with a long-term commercial vision that benefits both parties.
Lo digo con orgullo, que estamos contentos y satisfechos de lo que estamos haciendo, porque de manos de nosotros los campesinos, nuestro producto, nuestra vainilla va directamente al mercado europeo. Eso es lo que queremos y ahí queríamos llegar y ya lo estamos haciendo.
On behalf of the Veracruz State Council of Vanilla Producers, we thank you for your valuable attention.
Mexican vanilla. Origin matters.